Okay, we're halfway done. Maybe more. This particular film we're using has a super shrink technology. We'll go over films in our film reviews if you haven't already seen them. We'll show you different films and what the different properties of the films are, which ones are tinter friendly for certain applications and maybe which ones aren't. I've seen a lot of, I won't say the names, but I've used films that I really like, and they were very, very good films, but sometimes I couldn't use them on certain applications because maybe they wouldn't heat shrink as well as I'd like them to. Or I've seen some that'll heat shrink really well, but I didn't really like the film. So we try to find film that, you know, satisfies all your needs. I don't think there's any such thing as the perfect film out there on the markets yet. I haven't found it, but they're all starting to be pretty good. Better than they used to be. Got a little pinch there, but that's really all in the release liner, so it's not going to affect anything. I'll smooth it out with this hard card like this in there. I am using my little triangle card. I use it for about everything. The Teflon, white Teflon, I cut into a triangle. See there? It feels good the way I grab it, and I can make sure I iron everything out. Now, I don't worry about every little kink because I cut a lot of that out when I do my trim here. I like to just go ahead and knock this part out. That way I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm going to move this and put on top of the car. Get out of the way. Still got my mind on these roll-ups. I'm about to start putting roll-ups on, but I want to go ahead and, I don't know why I chose that area. I just started in the middle. But I'm going to try to get an exact cut along these matrix dots. Kind of pulling it off as I go. Kind of cut that close. I want to look on the inside of the car and see if I can see light through. I can a little bit. That's okay. Let me show you how to remedy that. What I've done is I've cut this a little too high, higher than I like. Since this car has a kind of a darker film on it, I'm going to go ahead and finish it the way I've been cutting it all the way through. A darker film and a lighter interior. I don't want any of that to show through the film, so when you make little mistakes like this, it's not the end of the world. There's no need to panic. All I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it a little high up here to compensate for down here, and it'll all work out. The sides, I don't have to worry about doing anything different. I'm just going to cut them. The mistake that I made just then, what I should have done is I should have looked under the tint before I started cutting, and I didn't. Sometimes it helps just to scope out your job before you start the job. Then that way you can eliminate little errors like I just made. So there's your tip right there. But if you make a mistake, instead of panicking and thinking, oh, I gotta start over, and try to figure out how to make them work. That's a real simple fix. I laugh at mistakes like that. I'm not gonna let that mistake cost me any money. I refuse. Okay, let's bring it on around. All right, now that's gonna work. That's all right. Now let's just leave that on the glass. We can worry about that in a minute. Now let's start on the window tint. Let's go back to putting the key back in, turning it on. We've got the patterns cut out. At this point, I concern myself with, you know, do I have to do any heat molding on these windows? If I do, I like to do it on the outside. I'm just going to do something for a quick test because this can save you a lot of trouble. You know, I try to avoid heating a window on the inside at all costs. So I'm going to take the pattern that I just cut. This is my test. I'm going to place it on the glass, and I'm going to put it about 1 inch above the release liner. I'm just going to look at it. I see no slack or fingers in this film, but I'm going to go ahead and just test it again. I'm going to smooth it out. They're not there. No fingers here. There's going to be no fingers on the inside of this glass. That's a good insurance move for me. Because if I had seen the fingers, I would go ahead and heat them on the outside and not the inside. Okay. I prefer at this point to have a fresh razor blade. I can actually do this whole car with one blade. This is kind of a new car. My blade, I don't know if it's used. I'm not going to take a chance. These blades are very inexpensive. I'm going to put a fresh blade in. And I'm going to get to working. Oh, and I always like to keep me 1 or 2 paper towels, not much. And I'm going to prep and install. I roll the window down. I'm actually visually inspecting this glass. I'm listening for any kind of little hard particles that I might go across. All I want to do is clean this glass and free it of any foreign matter. I'm looking at the these rug rails here. These are real loose. Now I've cut the tint even. I prefer to cut a piece of tint at the even with the bottom of this rug rail. Watch out! I'm gonna spray your camera. And it makes a lot easier installation. I don't care if you're the best tinter in the world. If you cut this pattern out incorrectly, if it's too big or too long, using this method, you're probably going to fail with your installation. I've cut this tint out exactly the size I want it. It's actually cut, they call it a short cut, because I've cut it even with the bottom, probably enough to go under, this rug rail, maybe a 64th or 32nd of an inch, and that's all I care about. If it's under there a foot or an inch or a 64th, as long as it's under there enough and I can get it to seal, it will not fill up. It's only like 1/1000th of an inch thick. Okay, now I'm gonna, I spray this tint to reduce static electricity. I only pull it down to about there. I want to thoroughly wet it. And I have the luxury of a sink. I like to use this before I handle the film because I actually like to handle the film. I don't like to just fold it over my arm. If you don't have a sink, that's okay. You can take a bucket, fill it with water, and dip your hands in it. Same thing. That's what I used to do when I didn't have a sink or if I was doing something mobile. Then I try to get my edge really tight. I will say this: at this stage, we could remove door panels. We could put this on and dry it with a heat gun, and we could go back and shave the edge. We could do it with a number 11 blade. We could do it with a file, the Olfa knife, anything you want to do. But for our customer and what we've pre-arranged, the micro gap was sufficient. It's a lot quicker for us. It actually is a better way for, I know this car won't come back with the tint peeling. And I'm going to slowly roll it up. I'm going to use my card. I'm going to push it up in there just to hold it so I don't have to put my hands on it. I'm going to focus on the bottom here. Get it real clean. This is where I want to show everybody how you're going to appreciate this film being cut perfect. It's right here. I'm going to completely remove the release liner. I'm going to slowly push it up, and it just kind of falls right in there. It's never as easy as I'm trying to make it out to be, but it's not hard. I'm going to take my little, what do you know, my little card again, and I'm going to wedge it. I'm going to get my little card in there, and I'm going to just feed the tint in there. It's real easy to do because it's almost perfectly cut. And I'm going to just tuck it, feed it. Usually it'll battle me a little bit in the corners, but not bad. And then I'm going to put my card in here, and I'm going to seal it on the edges, and then I'm going to wet it. And then I start working all these other the water and bubbles out. We'll discuss something with you here in a minute, but we've got some shop towels. They're not really good for cleaning or doing anything you would with a paper towel, but they're very durable, and we can put them over our hard cards, and we can do a little bit of hard tooling, get more water out. We can actually soak some moisture out of this film along the edges, the bottom, to prevent any fingering, just to secure everything. All right, and then I actually, clean my mess up, of course. We'll focus on that here at the very end. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead because I'm here. A lot of times on these four-door cars, you will see these little fixed pieces of glass in the doors. This one happens to be in the car. No big deal. I'll just go ahead and spray it so I can slide my blade across it. I just want to give it a quick scrape. Sometimes I spend more time trying to find a tool than I do tinting windows. You've noticed, you've watched me now. How long have we been into this, Charles?
You're at 40 minutes.
I've already got some windows tinted. I've already got all the patterns cut out. And it's going fast now. The prep is actually what takes so long. Putting the tint on kind of goes quick. You're having fun. Okay, I've just squeegeed this. I'm not going to put any water in this on the glass itself. I'm just going to put it on the pattern because I don't want to stir up any more trash that might be in the inside of the glass. It's a little piece of pattern there. Just very carefully put this on, not touching anything on the inside. Looking good. I sometimes tuck a little squeegee, and I don't know if I have it today. Yeah, I've taken a little scrap squeegee. I keep it in my bag for days. Installations like this, I can